was telling about a bag and all of them that I spoke to you briefly about having you on the show. They was like, "Yo, that's dope," and he's in IT. I could only imagine like where his mindset is. I'm just like, yeah, it'll be a
I
dope
actually tried to
conversation.
hire somebody to grow the business because I had an offer for a 3-month, $92,000 contract. And I was offering no experience, $20 an hour, 1099 to start. Everything goes good at the beginning of the year. They get W-2, and then we'd work on building more guys and getting insurance and all that stuff.
Word. And so,
But
did
no, I
you?
had
No
3
one
interviews booked and they all no showed.
get out, really?
Yeah. And then a whole bunch
Jeez.
of people online and on Facebook were like, $20 an hour in travel's not even worth it anymore. I was
What
like,
do you
well,
think? Does that make
I
sense?
mean,
Or
I do it. I'm covering all the bills. They have nothing to worry about. They make
no
$20 an
overhead?
hour. Yeah, no
Yeah.
overhead, nothing like that. They ride with me. They stay in the hotel with me. I mean, they have no worries on anything. I cook the
Yeah.
food.
Basically, a
Yeah.
partnership.
What's that?
Yeah. A unique partnership is what it sounds like.
I mean, it's just sometimes you got to make the sacrifices. Like, you're a $20 hour guy starting out with no experience, and I start teaching you my way to do things. And then you learn my way to do things, and you become ultra reliable to me. I'm going to pay you more money,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Actually, that
know?
makes sense. And they're not paying
So,
for all the travels. You're paying for all the travels. Room and
yeah,
board,
they're
basically.
they're they're not out there, having all the meetings and the time off, getting business, closing business. I'm
Gotcha.
HR, I'm accounting, I'm everything. I'm the salesman. I'm the guy that closes all the jobs out to get paid and does all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I do a heck of a lot more work than just go out there and get the job done with the person. There's a lot of
Right.
behind the scenes, booking all the travel arrangements and making sure vehicles are maintained. I do all my own vehicle maintenance because I don't trust mechanics around here. I tried taking it to a couple shops and I got bad jobs, so I just do it all myself.
And where are you again located?
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, I really don't know too much about Michigan, but it's unfortunate you can't find someone that's reliable to at least start
Yeah.
off at $20 an hour, and it's
build
IT.
and build their
IT
way
is going
up.
to be, yeah, build their way up. IT is like high demand all the time. I think it's a skill that like people pay thousands of dollars to even learn, and you're
Yep.
just willing to pay them to learn. That's,
Pay them
yeah,
$20 an hour to learn.
to learn. Yeah. And
Yes.
learning on the
Yep.
job, which is probably the best way. You'll be able to spot any errors immediately because you're on the job, uh, especially with
Yep.
someone with your expertise. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah. So it was a whole week straight just trying to, going on all the job boards and everything. And I, one guy was like, "Oh, I'm tired of factory life." And I was like, he's like, I hurt my leg in an accident and going across the factory floor all the time. So I was like, man, you're running across the Walmart store a lot, up on a scissor lift. I was like, if you got a bad leg, it's not really the job for you.
Yeah.
And
So now what you do is very specific. You were talking about wiring, right?
I mean, I run wire. I install different iPads, and keep the wire underneath the cabinets organized. I fix the credit card readers that you pay with. Sometimes we have to run some line fixes on registers and stores. I do security cameras and run the lines for those. I install all the routers and the switches and do all that configuration with the help of a service desk. So and it's Cat5 fiber coax, whatever you need. We run wires underground through the floor and up in. So you have a desk like this, and you would have wires here. We keep them invisible under the desk. They go through the floor, down underneath, and up a wall into a switch, so that they're
Gotcha.
nice, clean installation. So a little bit of construction, a little bit of IT in there. None of it's sitting behind a computer on a desk trying to program anything.
Gotcha.
You know, a lot of times with cameras, if they send them and they're programmed wrong, I'll have to take and plug them all in, and like I carry a switch with me, and I'll plug them all in and program them on the computer. But I'll be like in Walmart Vision Center on one of their tables with everything spread out on the floor, plugged in, and programming it on the fly so it can get up and get installed and get working.
Gotcha. So
But
you don't you don't do the actual like software, but you have to have some knowledge in the software behind all the wiring that you do, correct?
yeah, having software knowledge is good to know because there's, a lot of these guys on the phone and on the desk on the other side. I mean, they're not, they're maybe paid $20 an hour, and they're reading, common troubleshooting scripts and stuff like that. And they learn on the fly on each project themselves a little bit. But knowing that stuff too can say, hey, well, why don't you try this, because we haven't done this yet and I know what's going on here physically. So they don't
Gotcha.
ever get to see the physical side. I see the physical side where they're looking at a computer screen and an interface usually. So it's really two
Mm,
different sides of the coin, but the money's in the physical side.
yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Now,
Everybody
when
wants
you're
to,
doing the physical side, is it just you? I know we kind of just like jumped in. We're here at the sit
no,
down.
that's
We're here
cool.
with JayVanMan, who's an IT expert and built his own business around that, bootstrapping all the way through for 6 years now, right?
That was been about 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years. And now, are you mostly working alone? So every time you like kind of get a gig, like, are you doing everything on your own?
Before coronavirus, I had a couple guys. After coronavirus, it's been me, trying to rebuild. This project came up after reestablishing myself again. These projects came up where I could afford to hire a second guy and starting to get a third guy and a fourth guy. As you grow and the knowledge of everybody grows and the abilities of everybody grow, you can grow. Um, and yeah, I just found it hard. $20 an hour, even with me covering all the costs, is about all I can afford, you know, to get that going. And then I'm kind of to where if I stay solo, I can do small projects, I can work part time, and working part time, it's pretty easy to make like 60K a year.
Got you.
Um, Before coronavirus, it was me and and a couple other guys, and we brought in 215K in 2019, and then we did 34K in just January of 2020 when things were going good. Then it just went to zero.
Yeah, as soon as COVID hit, so that
So
pandemic really affected your
a lot
job
of small
capabilities.
businesses. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Yep.
small businesses. Yeah, that's wild, man. So let's go back a little bit. Take me back. So 6 years ago, how like what were you thinking? What were you doing that you just was like, I'm gonna build my own IT company?
Okay. So I was working IT in a biotech firm, and I was doing IT and calibrations. And I did that for 10 years. I got laid off. And so I went back to school to become, and went through, got the, 2 years of being an auto mechanic and got state certified for being an auto mechanic. Ran the shop for a little while, had a few cars and stuff, but, anytime you deal with people and something that they rely on, you can run into a lot of problems, I say. And so that was a hard business to A, get into, a lot of competition. And B, you're scratching to make money, in my opinion, if you're trying to do it, by the book and honestly. Um, so I got on and got a part-time gig to help me pay the bills at the auto shop. And I started off with a temp agency installing printers into Ford, and they paid us on this app. But this app I didn't realize was just like a independent contractor app. And so I kind of like over the couple weeks, like I think 3 weeks is what I was doing these printers for them in Ford factories and Bank of America and stuff. We were doing printer deployments for this company. And I seen all this work coming across, and I'm like, so then I started taking these little jobs, it was like $100 to, you know, put a headboard on somebody's Craftmatic adjustable bed in their home. So
Got it.
I
Oh,
find a local
so
one, and
is it one of those like freelance apps, like kind of like I think it's like Upwork or something like that, where you could get
kind of
different
like
gigs?
that. Yeah, this one was called Work Market.
Got
And
you. That's
so
awesome.
then I realized like Work Market had this area where you can take these tests and demonstrate your knowledge. And so one weekend I just like drinking coffee, staying up all week and just taking test after test after test and getting like 94, 96, 100, 98, on all these tests, and that's when the work started coming in. Like they're like, oh, this guy passed all these tests, like really
And you
good,
were getting flooded. Very nice.
So then they're like, asked me to do this, and you get reviewed on the platform too. So I always made sure I was early. I checked in, took the pictures, put them in, just very professional. Make sure you do all this stuff. And I'm doing this and, doing more and more. And then this company comes across and says, hey, you got a good review. We want to give you a shot to, do this dialysis network upgrade. And so you're going to run a few wires from the main switches out into the thing and replace and put in new APs, which are access points for internet. So that their customer base had new internet, and I was putting a new stack in. So I would go in there and get there at night, get everything prepped before they closed, and I'd just say, lock me in. So they'd set the alarm and lock me in, and I would stay there until somebody got back. And when they come in the morning, they would come in the morning, open the place up, and I'd just be finishing bringing the network up. It's just enough time. And I was doing this, by myself. And I had a minivan that I bought for like $250, and I rebuilt the engine on it. And I drove this minivan, and sometimes I slept in the minivan, if I needed to like take a long, looping trip to get these jobs to make more money. And that's how I started. Like, and when I started that, I spent like $120 initially on just the basic tools. They were really cheap. I think the tools only lasted like 6 months because they were so cheap. But
Oh,
but by the
God.
time I got through the 6 months, I had enough money that I was bettering my tools. And as I go through and work and stuff, I'd reinvest that money. And I got a full size van. I bought, better drills, better network tools, better network testers, so I could troubleshoot faster. And yeah, and that's how I did it. Just, and eventually I got to the point where I ended up in like big chains like Walmart and Target and stuff. And
Do-
me and
And
another
you got
person would go
those,
through.
did you get the big chains through the app or independently?
It was more independently. So now I don't even use the apps anymore.
Right.
Now what I do is I ended up forming a business with an LLC.
All
And
right. So,
then
so there was 6 months of you using this app and you were getting a bunch of gigs because you
I
passed so
actually
many
used the app
tests.
for like 2 years. And after 2 years of
Oh,
my work
okay.
and stuff, I had bigger companies that didn't use they use the apps for gap filler, but they have large project teams, and those project teams started calling me, so I didn't even need to take jobs on the app anymore. They just call me directly
Uh,
with the job.
oh, very nice.
And
So
so
you got your foot wet
that's
with
where
the
I'm
app.
at now. I've got
Yeah.
three larger IT houses that, all the big companies rotate through these IT houses to communicate with each other. But I got into the preferred provider on those, and my area here, I'm one of the first that they call now.
Right. So
So
how did you how were you able to like form the LLC over there in Michigan? Was it fairly
you go
easy or was it like
online. Yeah, you go online. You fill out the form. You pay $50 off your debit card. Week later, you get your LLC in the mail. Take the LLC in, get a bank account opened up, put some money in there, and then that's kind of your starting capital and stuff. And then you do it. And then they want a certain type of liability insurance, so you insure yourself and your business. And then
yeah.
you're licensed, you're fully, well, there's no licensing for, in the IT area really. So as long as you're a business, and you have basically your LLC as your business license kind of thing, then you have your insurance. So you're covered if anything happens. Then you just want to make sure nothing happens.
I wanna go back. You said there's no licenses needed for IT?
Not in my area, no. I think
Yeah.
Chicago has a license for low voltage. I think Minnesota has a low voltage license. I don't know if California does or not. Most states do not have licensing for low voltage.
So you bootstrapped all of this, you used an app to start getting any type of work. You applied to a lot of tests, passed those tests with a bunch of A's, and you worked yourself up. So I think those recommendations and those reviews kind of got you like, got all the eyes on you a little bit, like, hey, like, let's hire him for real.
Yeah,
And
well,
that's how you were able
the
to
biggest
start it off.
secret was working hard. I was doing the same job in less time than there were the teams that had 2 and 3 guys.
Wow. By
I just
yourself. That's
just
so
you
impressive.
just get it done, you know.
I like
That's
that
what
attitude.
kind
Just
of
get it done.
Yep, that's where I kind of got that attitude. I was in the Marines for 10 years. It was an attitude to get it done, and I've kept that attitude, you know, as much as I can. And so I believe, you know, working hard can be rewarded,
I
but
do agree.
you have to be in the right place too, because I've been in places where I've worked hard and I've watched other people steal my ideas and get promoted off of them and everything else
Oh
because
man, that's
people didn't
real,
like you
bro.
for your work ethic. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's very real.
got to be in the right place. You got to have the people around you, you know, and I think, you know, rotating those jobs and finding that right place, you know, that's just as important to anybody's success as your hard work.
Yeah. Yeah. 100% agree
'Cause,
with that. So 2 years in, you just start your LLC, and what happens? Yeah, like a big contract comes your way.
um, well, they were these, they're front end rebuilds when they do self checkouts in Walmart and stuff, and all the TVs that you'll see hanging in. So I got those, and those paid like I think about $8,000 a job. I could do them in 4 days. They were slated to be done in 10 working days or 14 days period.
You made 8 grand in 4 days.
So yeah, get in there, get it done with a helper, 4 days, and my helper. And what I'd tell the helper guy is like, you're learning this, and I started him out. Then I could start out at 18, teaching him everything. In 9 months, he was making 22 an hour. He was starting to get to the point where he was able to do them on his own with another helper, and so then he was training somebody else within a year, and he was getting ready to get a raise up to like 27 an hour, but that's when coronavirus started kind of hitting. Um, and then it would just went from there. But yeah, and I told him, I was like, if you get a 14-day job done in that 4 days, I was like, you can have the rest of the 6 days off, and I'm still going to pay you for them.
Oh wow.
And he did it. He found out I paid him for him. He's like, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely a person of your word. I could definitely tell by your character. Man, so coronavirus hit. You were making 6 figures prior to the coronavirus.
Yeah.
You had just launched your business. You're doing well for yourself. You're training people for free, basically paying people while training them,
Yeah.
giving them jobs at 18, 20, even 22 an hour. And then Corona hits and kind of slows everything down. So how were you able to like maneuvering a steady stream of income? What did you turn over to?
Well, I was lucky enough to have my house paid off. And so when coronavirus shut down, um, we were able to get, as a 1099 worker, they allowed all of us to get unemployment. So when work came around, I'd do work, claim it into unemployment, they'd take whatever off, and then I would get whatever, was left on that benefit. And I made it through with that. But then, as that started phasing out, I started, like work's picking up just a little bit. And I took, what I did is I took a lot of my bills just way down too. So I could work less and still pay all my bills.
Got you. So you were getting like maybe smaller contracts and odd jobs here and there.
Just, yeah, basically doing smaller contracts and odd jobs so that, and then bringing all my bills down. Like, instead of having Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and all those, it's like I would do Disney Plus for a couple months, and then I'd do Hulu for a couple months, and I'd do Netflix for a couple months, and just rotate them. So I'm only
That's a
paying
cool
one instead of
method.
5 of them. Yeah.
Right.
You know, we paid a bunch of bills down and off and got through it, you know. So
Yeah. But it was a little rough, was it?
yeah,
Coronavirus.
well, my girlfriend didn't get laid off either, so that helped out a lot too. Like
Oh,
she
okay.
had her income that was steady enough.
Oh, that's great. What a great partnership,
So,
seriously.
yeah.
That's not easy. And so did that discourage you when a lot of the businesses started shutting down, or like how did it change your
No, no,
mindset?
I always have something else to do.
Mm,
So,
yeah.
I still have cars that I work on for friends and stuff, and I always make sure there's something that I can do that can earn money. I have a 6,000-watt DJ system. I've got professional photography gear. I did a few $25 photography sessions for people and emailed them the pictures and stuff, and do cheap packages like that so that, you know, I'd get a little bit of money in and somebody get something of value.
Wow. So you invested in a couple of equipments to, like, you know, as just in case, like I'd always have to continue working and make sure that I'm making money in some way, some form. Is that
Yeah, I've got it down to where I can pretty much make money in 6 different ways. So I don't have
wow.
to go get. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, when one's slow, I'll, like, you know, I do pretty good photography stuff. Actually, when I was so I'm 47 now. When I was 19, you know, I took some photography classes in college and stuff. And
You've lived the life, man. That's really awesome.
yeah, so
Artistic, and you got some IT brain. Man, that's amazing.
yep. And I'm hoping, like, I was gonna give it one more shot this weekend, or this week was actually the last shot I'm giving the IT business to grow back. Now I'm just gonna
Really?
use yep. Now
Oh
I'm just gonna use it
man.
as a stopgap for when I need a little bit of income. Go out and do it, but I'm gonna start cutting down on that and doing more YouTube, I think.
You're gonna do YouTube content?
Yeah, so I've got
Man,
some.
I'm kind of blown because, like, bro, you made like six figures not too long ago.
Yeah,
Coronavirus hits, and I'm not gonna lie, it kind of like it stubbed your business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it did, but I
it did,
also
but
I'm also ready to be a little bit happier in life and working less of it away. And money is not my big motivating factor.
wow, that's phenomenal. Seriously. I commend you for
So
that. But I like the idea of, like, you teaching. I know I probably spoke to you a couple of times saying the same thing about, well, why don't you do like a maybe like a tutoring, like an online course for the
yeah,
IT.
if I could figure out a way to make somebody be able to do a Cat 5 cable in VR, that'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
In VR, yeah, that would be awesome. But you could also do it on YouTube, is what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, just
there's a
make a
whole bunch of
YouTube
people.
video and then we can we stream YouTube into these rooms yet?
Yeah, I could be streaming live on YouTube right now.
No, no, I'm saying can we actually play a YouTube video in VR
Oh,
yet?
not yet. Only Meta execs can do that with like
Oh,
venues and stuff like that. Yeah, we
yeah.
can't do it though. It's unfortunate. I'm sure
Hopefully eventually.
your arm just flew. I'm sure
Yeah,
eventually, yeah,
probably
they'll
controller
start
went to sleep.
implementing. But they do have an alt space, so you have options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have
I,
to look and see how alt space works because that might be a good way to train some of that stuff and get people in.
yeah.
Honestly,
You're not are you camera shy, or I mean, I know you're
not at
like
all.
behind a camera. So why don't you can actually do videos, like you have all the
Yeah, I've
equipment
been thinking
already,
about it.
just
I guess though, I've never figured
there's
out how
no
to
way
get.
for I know money's not like your motivating factor. I think it's just it's commendable. But there's no way that you could just not be successful. I think regardless of what you do, you'll be
Yeah, I've
absolutely
never been able to
successful.
go viral on anything. Like the best I got was 1,100 views on something on TikTok, and that was because I was making a still.
You're making it still and you got 1100. I mean, 1100 views is awesome. Well, now you have a
Yeah,
huge community here in the metaverse.
I know. That's what I'm kind of excited about, and I'm like,
Listen, if y'all need some work, go to this man. This guy has so much knowledge. He could bootstrap his way to making six figures. He can actually give you the knowledge you need to do the same thing. I mean, I've just listened to your story. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just like I'm like in awe of it, you know?
Yeah, I've been more than happy to teach people how to do it.
Yeah. And then they could start making their own business and maybe getting big contracts where they can make 6 figures and even
You know?
7 figures, I'm very sure, you know? It's
Yeah,
unfortunate that
if you had about 10 guys working for you, you could pull in, you know, $1 million, but you're gonna pay out 10 guys in that million.
yeah.
I mean, I did 200 with 2 guys, so I mean, and I was on track. What's 34,000 times 12? I mean, if it would have been continuing to run like that, I mean,
You
let's say
saying a month
30,000,
you're making 30?
30 grand a month times 12 work, you know, with 3 guys working hard or something. I mean,
Yeah, man.
you know, after tax, I mean, taxes are a big thing. You wouldn't believe the taxes when you go.
In Michigan? I mean,
Oh,
I
it's
feel like
just not that.
taxes.
It's like, so let's say you made, like, one year I made 130 grand, right? And
Yeah.
after all the deductions and everything, I still had a $30,000 tax bill, just federal, $9,000 in state taxes on that income.
Hey, Jay, we're gonna have to talk to somebody about those taxes, man, because
Yeah,
you're giving away too much.
You can't joke with them taxes though.
I know. Yeah, but I've had some conversations and how you can better secure your money is
Yeah.
all I'm saying. You know, more protection on your money is necessary, especially when you're making big figures like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah,
that'll come
I got to the point where
next time.
I think 40K is my thing. When I make 40K, I'm just gonna stop working.
When you make 40K, you're just gonna stop working, like for the
Yeah,
year, or
because like I have a minor daughter right now, so I can make 40K and still get my VA healthcare. But as soon as I make over 40K, the VA healthcare starts getting funny. So I
you
think,
know,
you know, and then I
oh my,
think when
you
she
know,
graduates,
wow.
I'm gonna have to go down to about 32K a year and just survive on that. But I'm okay with it. I mean, I've got most everything paid off now, and I'm basically paying property taxes and utilities and stuff.
I'm just, oh my, I'm just like 6 figures, and he's like, nah, I'll settle for 40K.
There's a
Yeah.
lot to talk about there.
Yeah, man, that really got my head just like I'm trying to wrap my head around that. And it's unfortunate that like a lot of your benefits, because you were in the military, could be taken away if you're making more money.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is like, um, at one point in time, I wasn't doing so good before this stuff, and I had to have food stamps, and I had a bigger car, and so I got a smaller car to try to, you know, get better gas mileage. And because I ended up owning 2 cars, they denied me for food stamps because I had
Wait,
more
so
than one
because you
car.
had 2 cars, they
Yeah,
denied you for food stamps, bro? We
yeah.
love food stamps. Food stamps are coming clutch. They
Are
come
they?
in clutch. What? That helps out a lot.
It really helped me out when I needed it. So I'm glad that the benefit is there for us and stuff. But
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I've been down to the bottom here and poor, and I've been to the 6-figure income up here and a business
And now you're
owner
just
and
trying to chill in the
everything in
middle.
between. Yeah, and I'm just trying to find a good middle ground, you know, like.
Yeah, but something that feeds your soul. It seems like that's what your
Yeah,
new
now
journey
this is me
towards.
getting closer to 50. In my 20s, I would have been all about the money. Like, freaking, you know, if I would have known what I know now in my 20s, like, man, I'd be in a whole
Nah,
different space.
listen,
But
I'm gonna say this live. I've done business development, and you already have a proven concept of a successful business. I think you and I should work together on figuring out ways to grow that, where you don't have to do the labor. I get it. You know, we all are
mhm.
aging, and our body's different. But I think the information that you have is really, really useful. It can help a lot of people. So
Yep.
let's set something up for real. We'll really talk outside of here, and start bootstrapping that, and get that out there. Seriously, even
Yeah,
the marketing
I'll
and the
give people the
advertising behind
information.
it.
It takes the person to do it all. You know, the information's, you know, there. It takes the right person to make it work, though. But
yeah, again, you have proven
information.
concept. You have proven concept, and I think just that alone is very, very valuable, and we can work off of that. So, you know, I commend you in all that you're doing. And you know, you understand your situation better than anyone else, and you're making the best decisions for you and your family.
Maybe we get somebody to build a training room for what I know, and then anybody can come in at a certain
Listen,
time.
there's multiple ways. I'm telling you, there are multiple ways. I've been around within this industry, and by this industry, I mean like course development or even like startups and stuff like that for a long time. Yeah. Also marketing and advertising. I've been around there for a long time. So I think there's something there, and we just need to grab it and really put it in the right faces. That's what it is, right in front of the right faces. Yeah, the right faces are gonna bite, and they're gonna be like, "I need this, and I'm gonna learn it," and then set forth. You know.
Well, speaking of that, we're almost at 3:00, and I have to pack the van because I'm doing 2 target jobs in another state tonight and tomorrow.
And you're still on the job. Listen, Jay, I'm so happy that you came here. I really appreciate you just randomly popping in and hitting me up with a party chat, because I really wanted to talk to you. I know the last time we were interrupted, which was fine. And yeah, this was a great conversation. I look forward to part 2 and seeing the progress between the both of us and what we formed together.
I'll be back on Wednesday or Thursday.
Got you. Again, JayVanMan5, bootstrapped in IT business, and wow, on a whole other journey right now. Really amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in to the sit down. We will see you next time. And again, make sure you love each other. Progress. Bye.